Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to break down the key info from important sources so you get the insights fast. Today we're tackling a really significant mobile security issue. It's called the ClayRat spyware campaign, and it highlights some serious vulnerabilities.
Yeah, ClayRat is definitely more than just your average malware. It's quite sophisticated, spreads incredibly quickly. And the sources we're looking at today, they don't just cover ClayRat itself, but also how these kinds of attacks shine a light on deeper security problems already present in the mobile world.
Right, that dual nature is key. We've got a detailed intelligence report on ClayRat, specifically how it works. And then there's this other study, quite startling really, about security flaws found in brand new budget Android phones
Yeah.
right out of the box.
Exactly. So our mission here is twofold, really. First, understand how ClayRat actually manages to, infect and basically hijack a device. And second, we need to adjust our perspective. Realize that security isn't just about the apps you download. The threat might already be there.
It might be preloaded. Okay, so ClayRat itself, it turns your own phone against you, basically your personal communication tool. Let's unpack that. How does it even get onto someone's phone? What's the trick?
Well, the main way in is through deception. They use things people trust, or at least recognize. We're talking about fake websites, deceptive channels on Telegram, that kind of thing.
They're not using weird app names nobody's heard of.
No, that's the clever part. They mimic the big names, WhatsApp, Google Photos, TikTok, YouTube, apps everyone knows and trusts. That familiarity is the lure. People see a name they recognize, they're less likely to be suspicious.
Okay, so they click a link, maybe land on a fake site. Then what? You mentioned Telegram.
Yeah, often they'll redirect you to a Telegram channel that the attackers control. And inside that channel, they build this illusion of safety. They pump up the download numbers, flood it with fake positive reviews.
Ah, social proof. Making it look popular and trusted, even though it's all fabricated.
Precisely. It plays on our tendency to trust what seems popular, but getting the click is just the start. The actual infection, how it installs, is designed to slip past modern Android security. It's not straightforward.
Right, you said it's a two-step process, not just installing one malicious file.
Correct. The first file you download, that's just a dropper. Its main job is to get the real malware onto the device later. It needs to distract the user while it does its work.
How does it do that? What does the user see?
They'll often see something like a fake Google Play Store update screen, a progress bar, maybe installing update. Looks legit.
Okay, so I'm watching this fake update.
Exactly. And while your attention is on that fake screen, the dropper is quietly working in the background. It unpacks the hidden ClayRat spyware payload and installs it deep in the system. All trying to happen without setting off alarms. It's quite slick.
That hidden install is definitely sneaky. So once ClayRat is actually on the phone, what's its first move?
First thing, it phones home. Connects immediately to what's called a command and control server, or C2. Think of the C2 as the attacker's remote dashboard. From there, they can start controlling the infected phone.
Okay, connects to the C2. And then what? The report mentions something about SMS permissions being really critical.
Yes, that's a key step. They trick the user into making ClayRat the default SMS app.
Why is that specific permission so powerful? Seems like just messaging.
Because being the default SMS app grants it, basically unrestricted access to everything message-related, all your texts, incoming, outgoing message logs, the ability to send messages. It gets the keys to the kingdom for communication.
Wow. So once it has that, it just starts grabbing data.
Quietly, yes. It starts siphoning off all sorts of personal information, private text messages, obviously, your entire call history, even app notifications that pop up on your screen, plus detailed info about the device itself. It all gets sent back to the C2.
That's the passive spying part. But you mentioned it goes beyond that.
Mhm.
Active control.
It does, and this is where it gets, frankly, quite alarming. The attackers can remotely command the phone to, for instance, take photos using the front camera.
Wait, seriously. It can force the phone to secretly take pictures of me or my surroundings without me knowing.
Yes, that's not just data theft anymore. It's a direct intrusion into your physical space. Really changes how you'd feel about your device.
No kidding. That's
Wow.
incredibly invasive. What else can they do actively?
They can also make the phone send texts or make calls directly, all appearing to come from the victim, but controlled remotely. The owner might never see it happen.
So they can impersonate you using your own phone.
Completely. They are fully commandeering the device's communication abilities.
And this isn't some small, isolated threat. You mentioned the scale.
The scale is worrying. Zimperium, the security firm, reported finding over 600 different versions or variants of this malware just in the last 3 months.
600 versions. Wow. They're constantly tweaking it to avoid getting caught.
Right, that rapid evolution is part of what makes it so dangerous. And it connects directly to its most potent feature, how it spreads.
This is the automated part you mentioned, where it uses the victim's contacts.
Exactly. This is what makes ClayRat exceptionally dangerous. It turns every infected phone into a distribution point. The spyware automatically pulls the victim's entire contact list, their phone book,
And yeah.
and then it sends deceptive messages with malicious links to every single one of those contacts. Crucially, the messages appear to come directly from the victim, from their number, their identity.
So it bypasses our natural skepticism. You wouldn't suspect a link from a friend or family member.
Precisely. A message from someone you trust. You're far more likely to click it. That's the genius and the danger of it. It leverages that existing press network, allows the malware to spread exponentially without the attackers having to do much more manually. It just goes viral on its own.
Okay, so ClayRat is this sophisticated external attacker preying on trust using automation. Very nasty stuff. But you said earlier the problem is bigger than just malware like this. It's also about what's already on the phone. Baked-in risks.
Yes, that's the other critical piece of this. While ClayRat is, the sharp end of the spear, the sources point to underlying weaknesses in the whole mobile ecosystem. We need to look at the security situation before a user even downloads their first app.
That really challenges the basic assumption, doesn't it? That a new phone is a clean slate, secure out of the box. What did the research uncover?
Well, there's a key study mentioned from researchers at the University of Luxembourg and Université Cheikh Anta Diop. They specifically looked at smartphones sold in Africa, focusing on the more budget-friendly Android models.
Okay, budget Android phones. What did they find about pre-installed software?
They found some really unsettling things about the apps that come preloaded on these devices, part of the factory setup. The issue often stems from the supply chain, especially for budget devices. The pressure to keep costs down means security checks might get overlooked. Speed and price become the priority.
So corners get cut on security.
It seems so. The researchers found many of these built-in apps operating with dangerously high permission levels right from the start.
What kind of permissions or bad behaviors do they actually find? Any specific numbers?
Yeah, the findings were pretty stark. About 9% of the preloaded apps they examined were leaking sensitive data. Things like the phone's unique ID numbers, even the owner's location data, being sent off to unknown third parties, leaking straight from the factory image.
9% leaking data. Wow. What about actual security flaws, vulnerabilities?
They found critical security flaws in 16% of the pre-installed apps. And maybe even worse, dozens of these factory apps had the power to do really risky things without asking the user, like reading or even sending SMS messages or silently installing other apps in the background. No user consent needed.
Hold on. An app that came with the phone can silently install more software and read my texts before I've done anything.
According to this research, yes, on some of these devices.
That completely undermines the idea of a secure starting point. If the phone is potentially compromised from day one, it makes attacks like ClayRat even easier, I suppose.
That's the crucial connection, yeah. You've got this dual threat. On one hand, sophisticated external attacks like ClayRat using social engineering and automation. And on the other hand, you have these built-in systemic risks, these vulnerabilities baked into the device itself because of supply chain issues. The external threats can exploit these internal weaknesses.
So if danger comes from both outside and inside the device, what's the takeaway for someone listening? How do you defend against something so broad?
Well, it really underlines the need for a multi-layered approach, constant vigilance. For threats like ClayRat, it comes back to things like robust cybersecurity awareness training. People need to learn how to spot those fake sites, those suspicious Telegram channels, recognize the lures.
Makes sense. Know the enemy's tactics.
Yeah.
And for the internal pre-installed risks, the supply chain problem.
That points more towards system integrity, maybe deeper security audits, though that's harder for an individual user. But it connects to a broader point about vigilance across all your digital assets. We know, for example, from other contexts like the Rapid Lock checklist, that even one wrong setting in your cloud services like Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace can expose everything.
Right, a single weak link. And if your phone itself, the device in your pocket, is compromised from the start or easily compromised,
then it doesn't matter how secure your cloud is, potentially. The device is the gateway. And, while we focused on some pretty high-level threats here, the sources also touch on basic digital safety. even for kids. Things like guides for parents on keeping children safe online, with activities for different ages. It's not just about protecting kids, though that's vital. It's about building that fundamental sense of security awareness, that healthy skepticism in everyone, because that awareness is often your first line of defense against social engineering tricks.
That seems to be the core lesson, doesn't it? You have to be skeptical everywhere. Links from friends could be ClayRat. Apps on your brand new phone might not be safe. The baseline assumption of trust, it's gone. Hashtag tag outro.
It really is. That's the big shift we need to internalize. Mobile security threats aren't just about external malware anymore. They can be inherent to the device itself, right out of the box, which makes user vigilance, that constant questioning, absolutely critical, more than ever before.
Yeah, if flaws and data leaks are potentially built in before you even install your first app, well, that changes how we need to think about trusting new technology fundamentally. We
Oh.
can't just assume it's secure when we first turn it on.
And that leaves us with a challenging final thought, doesn't it? If the device might be compromised, in some sense, straight from the factory, what core assumption about trusting new technology do we really need to reconsider? We're almost starting on the back foot.
A really important question to think about. Okay, that's our deep dive for today. Keep digging deep, stay vigilant, stay skeptical. We'll catch you next time on the deep dive.